name's Alex Karekis, and I want to welcome you to the Finding Lost Civilization series. I'll tell you, today is going to be a real adventure. I'm on the old Mojave Road in the Mojave Desert, located in Southern California. Now, this road was once called Old Government Road, and it leads to a place called Fort Piute. Now, this road was also an ancient trail used by the local natives thousands of years ago, and then by the settlers who came to this area. This is going to be a fun journey, and I invite you to come trek with me. Well, friends, you might ask yourself, why did man come to this desolate area? Well, right before you, you can see this green foliage, and before us we have what's known as Piute Creek. This here is an oasis, and water was a source of life. And this is exactly the reason why man came here for thousands of years and left behind their symbols. As I scanned the creek, I saw an area that looked like a small plateau with large boulders right there directly in front of us. And I thought to myself, that's a good place to have a camp. That's a good place to leave behind some symbols. So let's go to that area. I'll tell you, the desert here is beautiful. When the rains come, you wouldn't believe the flowers and the life that exists here. They show themselves through their bloom. Look at this here. Look at these wonderful bushes. Look at this cactus over here. It has a reddish yellow color to it. Beautiful. Look at that right here. All variety of life that maybe 6 or 8 months ago during the summer heat looked like just a vast, desolate and dead area. But friends, life exists over here without a doubt. Anyways, let's go to that spot. I'm sure we're going to find some symbols. I just had a sensing that we would probably encounter signs of life. There's a symbol right here. Look, can you see it? My goodness. Now this is a really ancient symbol. Look at that. It almost looks like a leaf, okay, with lines through it. My goodness, this area is going to be rich with symbols. I can feel it. Let's see over here. Okay, I see another one right over here. Look at this, my friends. I tell you, these are very, very old. There you go. Can you see that right there? Oh my goodness, this is incredible. Well, look at that beautiful cactus. So aside from the symbols that we're finding, these flowers, this type of life is a joy to behold also. It's just a wonder how these things exist over here in a place where you would think not 1 ounce of life exists. Well, this is the area where I believe we're going to find the symbols. We've already found one, and I'm sure we're going to find many more. Oh my goodness, do you see that boulders? 2 boulders directly in front of us. Let's go there and take a look at them. Okay, we're approaching these 2 boulders. Oh my goodness, I can see it looks like a spiral. No, my goodness, from this angle it's a sunburst. Look, I'm going to come close to it and we'll look at it together. Okay, can you see the circular area? Now the sun is shining directly on this boulder, so it might be difficult, but look, you have a circular pattern, and then on the outside you have loops like a sun ray. Okay, right here. Let me go right over it. Okay, there's the circle, and here's the loops over here. Now you can tell this is very old because the patina of the rock, look, this is the color of the rock, the aging from the sun and the seasons. And so initially when a petroglyph is made, it's very, very bright. But right here to the human eye, it's barely visible. Now through the camera lens, you can probably see it better. But this is almost invisible to the human eye. It takes literally thousands of years to repaginate the stone to its original color right here. I'll tell you, this is wonderful. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Let's see. Let's turn. Oh my goodness. Look at that directly in front of us. Let's go over there and take a look. You ask yourself, what style are these drawings, these petroglyphs? What culture put them here? Well, my guess is that several cultures came through here. Now these symbols are what we might call archaic. In other words, they're wavy lines and they're grids and they're squares. In essence, people sometimes call them abstract. Now as the, I guess, civilizations progressed, their pictographs, their petroglyphs became more discernible. You could start seeing people and animals. But the very early ones just had lines, grids, and squares. So look at this over here. My goodness, this is really, really fantastic. Well, you couldn't ask for more, I tell you. This is really beautiful. So, as we go along, oh, geez, look at this. A series of circular and wavy lines. As I say, I believe those are what we'll generally speak as archaic. They are very old. Well, here's an interesting petroglyph directly in front of us. When I first saw it, it didn't really have any meaning, so to speak. It just looked like a series of lines. But to me, it actually now looks like a sun symbol. If you look right there, you can see the circular area with these lines emanating out of there. So to me, that looks like a sun symbol. But look at this. This is another interesting petroglyph right there. There's a wavy line right there. But right over there, look at that. There's a stick figure that's upside down. Right where my finger is his head. There's his arms. You follow the torso, and there's the 2 legs. Oftentimes, when you see an upside down human figure, that means death. Someone passed away, someone died. Well, directly in front of us, right over here, is the creek. But right here, where we're walking, is an ancient trail, thousands of years old, right over here. But look at this interesting boulder right over here. Let's go take a look at it. I can see symbols on it. But right on the top, see how, I guess, roughed out or maybe a different color it is? My guess is that that area right there is what's called a grinding slick. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, oh yes, look at that. You can see the symbols there, and then right over here. Now, when I talk about a grinding slick, what I'm saying is that this area is a place where food was processed. And when I talk about food, I mean seeds that were taken from the lands in this area that were edible. And they would be placed here, and then they would be ground. And I tell you, I'm running my hands on the top of this area, and it's very, very smooth. And this action occurs when you're grinding, grinding, and grinding. So this is a very interesting boulder. It had several uses, and I believe one culture used it differently than another culture. Let me explain. Look at this right over here. You see these circular patterns right here? Again, these are what's called archaic, very, very old. And if you look at the grinding area right here, underneath the grinding area, you can see symbols. So a succeeding culture, a newer culture, arrived to this area and used this boulder where there were already symbols left behind by people that preceded them, and used it as a food processing area right over here. This is very, very fascinating. Well, right below me is a very, very interesting petroglyph. And I say it's interesting because I don't see these type of designs often. You see the petroglyph right here in front of us, that boulder? We have a symbol of two people, and look, they're holding hands. Before us we have a very beautiful petroglyph, and as I'm looking at it, I think I see two figures. Look at this over here. This could be the head. There's one arm, and it looks like maybe they're holding some kind of implement. There's the body, and then there's the legs, but the legs come out to a triangle. Look at this. Very interesting. And as I go back, as I step back from this element here, let's step all the way back. Yeah, to me, it looks like some type of figure right there, and other type of elements around the figure. But again, this is just a guess on my part. Hard to say what it actually is or what the meaning was, but beautiful nonetheless. Well, what we're going to do over here, again, this is a Piute Creek right over here, Piute Creek. Now we're facing east. That's the eastern plains over there. And there's the turkey ranch, and I believe there's remnants of the house over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the bank over here and to see if we can discover any more petroglyphs. We're continuing our trek here along the banks of the Piute Creek near the turkey ranch. And oh my goodness, look at this right here. I can already see it on that side. So let's take a look at what kind of symbol we're going to find. Okay, I'm going to go around the boulder so that my shadow doesn't fall on it. And there you go. Beautiful. I'll tell you, this is beautiful. Oh my goodness, look at this. We're finally seeing a figure right here. Look at that, okay? The head is gone right here, but look at the feet. This could very well be a salamander in this area, or a lizard. There's a lot of life here along this creek. That's a really beautiful petroglyph. We'll continue to search. I'll tell you, this is really exciting. It's like a treasure hunt, so to speak, because there's no map, there's no layout of where these petroglyphs are. You have to find them. We know that they're here in this general area, but there's no guide to take you to any one specific petroglyph in this area. So I'm going to keep following the bank. There you go. You can see the turkey farm right here, and there I can see the foundations of the home. So we're going to go to that area. So let's keep searching here. This is truly fantastic. Well, I think we're going to be rewarded. Look at this beautiful petroglyph right over here. I'll tell you, it's amazing. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at the geometric designs here coming to this circular spot. Oh my goodness. And then a series of zigzags. This is truly, truly beautiful. I'm going to show you a very, very interesting boulder right here in front of us. If you see this element over here, let's look at the top, okay, right over here. Right over there we have what I would consider archaic elements right here. Can you see the circle here? Line and a circle. But let me show you something. Right over here, this is an added element. Look at it, right here in a circle. This here is very old, very old. Look at the patina, and then look at this over here. So this was added on later, and I would say hundreds and hundreds of years later, this element was added to the original petroglyph. But let me show you something else fantastic. Right here on this side of the boulder. Let me get up and move over here. I'll tell you what, I'm not as spry as I used to be. So let me go across it. You can see my shadow, and there you have it. Look at this over here. Again, if you look at the coloring, dark, light, and lighter. So we have three different iterations of petroglyphs over here at different times. This one here is the oldest. Then this is a little younger, and this is very young. Now when I say very young, it still could be 500-600 years old. And it appears to me that these are the bighorn sheep. Although right here it doesn't have this big circular pattern. It could be a wild deer in this area. I'm not sure, I don't know. But this boulder is truly fascinating because of the three, I guess, subset of cultures that put their symbols onto this boulder. Truly fascinating. Let me show you something very interesting about this boulder. Look at these symbols. Again, they're wavy lines and circles, but look at this right over here. This symbol right here is a cross. Look, right here and then right over here. And it's, you know, incised at both ends. You could actually see it here and here. This cross here you can find in Mexico and in the greater Southwest. It's a really ancient symbol, but really fantastic to find every now and then. Right over here, that's again a cross. This symbol you can find in many sites in Arizona, Utah, in Mexico. So, you know, the cultures down south migrated from up north. So a lot of the symbols that you would see, for example, here in California, you might very well see in Mexico or even South America because of the tradition that the people brought with them. The collective, what I'll call subconscious, and so people were making symbols. They didn't even know the origin of the symbols, except that it was part of their history. This is it. I've come off the King's Throne, next to the King's Fountain, the King's Pool. This is Alta Vista. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly have, and I'm glad to share this with you. Now, I'm going to remind you, you can see all this in my book, Finding Lost Civilization. Enjoy. Okay, we're at the back side of the turkey ranch, right over here. Now, as I said, this venture was a failure because the turkeys were being killed by the wildlife here. And the turkey rancher, couldn't find a way to protect his turkeys. And so finally, he gave up his venture because it was simply not profitable. His profits literally were being eaten up. Well, here you have the foundation, and let's take a look and see what remains. And oh my goodness, this is hard to believe. This house, this foundation, used elements from archaic stones containing petroglyphs. Look at that. That's incredible. That is beautiful. Look at that wonderful petroglyph right here, used to build this home. I'll tell you what, I'm wondering if there's any other symbols over here. This is really something else. As I'm looking upon this landscape, I see a petroglyph right there directly ahead of us. So let's walk up there, let's take a look and try to determine what type of symbols. Already from here I can see it looks like a human figure and then some animal figures. Oh, this is going to be fascinating. Let's go take a closer look. As we come closer, I'm really fascinated. Those really are symbols of bighorn sheep. Look at that. My goodness. And then there's a symbol of a man, a human figure. This is really, really beautiful. Can you see the bighorn sheep up top there and the curve of the horns? And look at this figure on the right. You can see it's a man with outstretched arms. So this is really fantastic. Well, we're still in a chicken ranch area. You can see the wire, or I should say turkey ranch area. And there's some boulders over here, and my friend Dave said there's a really nice petroglyph in here. So let's take a look. Well, this is actually very interesting. Again, this is another human figure. Look at that. There's the shoulders, there's the arms, there's the head. But here's the interesting thing about the head. Right over here, it's deeply incised, right here. Deeply incised. And look at this, a headdress. A headdress, feathers right here. Very, very unique. And of course, there's his feet. I'll tell you, this really is wonderful. See another boulder over here with a series of symbols. Actually, both boulders right over here. Look at this. There's a boulder over here. Very old, archaic. It's in a light fading away. And then right over here. And then this is very interesting. This looks like a figure of a man sitting down. And on top of his head, there's a big arc. Very interesting. This area is the gift that keeps on giving. Well, friends, as I was driving out of here, look what we noticed on the ground right over there. You see it? It's an ancient petroglyph. Well, let's go take a look at it. Well, my friend Dave is filming this, and I mean, this is really fantastic. That petroglyph right over here, normally you see them on these big boulders. In other words, they're not portable. Let me show you something. This petroglyph here is thousands of years old. It's archaic. But what I'm going to do, it's laying here off the road for anybody to see or take. I'm going to take it off the road over here and put it behind a bush so that 5,000 to 10,000 years from now it'll still be here. I hope it's safe. You know, it's one thing finding an arrowhead on the ground or something like that, but to take an ancient petroglyph that's 7, 8, 6,000 years old to take home from this area, I don't think would be proper. So anyways, our journeys are about knowledge. They're not about finding artifacts.